Okay, so I'm now going to show you how to temper the chocolate. So the reason why we have to temper chocolate is so that we can have chocolate that has that really nice shiny surface and a good sort of sharp snap to it. And so the shine of the chocolate and the snap is all determined by the way in which the cocoa butter crystals are lined up in the chocolate. So now that only happens when the chocolate is at about 30 degrees. So we have to make sure the chocolate is around 30 degrees before we then begin to use the chocolate, okay? So I've just melted the chocolate over a saucepan, which is what we call a bain-marie. So I've got about 1 inch of water in there, and I've heated the water up, and the chocolate has just melted over using the steam that comes from the water, and it's melted just like that. Just keep stirring it and then take it off. So we're now left with chocolate which is really quite warm. It's probably about 50 degrees. So how do we get it down to about 30 degrees in the quickest, easiest, most fun way possible? Well, the answer is the seeding method. So what I'm going to do, I've just taken the milk chocolate buttons, and now really gradually I'm just going to add a few buttons at a time, but just make sure that you just start off, just add like literally about like 3 or 4 buttons, and then wait, keep stirring it, stir the chocolate as much as possible, because the more you stir it, the quicker it will melt. And then once they have melted, you then have to do what we call the lip test, which is the fun bit. So the chocolate at the moment will feel really quite warm on your lip. Because the chocolate is about 50 degrees, as I said, and our body temperature is 36 degrees. So that's why it feels warm on the lip. So once the chocolate is at the right temperature, which is 30 degrees, it should feel quite cool on the upper lip because it's below body temperature, okay? So if I actually test it now, what we do, we don't put our finger in the chocolate, as tempting as it is. We drizzle a little bit of chocolate on our finger, and then very quickly we put it on our upper lip, and I can tell that it's really quite warm still. Delicious. Okay, so I'm going to keep going, but just gradually adding the buttons, a few at a time, okay? Gradually add them and keep going. Now usually we use about, whatever we have in the bowl, we use about 1/3 of this bowl in buttons. So literally you take kind of like roughly guesstimate how many buttons would you use, what's about 1/3 of this bowl's worth. So I'd say it's probably about 1/2 of this jug here. So because I've tempered before, I'm going to speed it up a little bit and add a few more buttons, but you can do it really quite gradually at home. So keep on stirring it. And eventually, you will find that the chocolate begins to thicken up a lot, and eventually it should be cool enough to put on your upper lip. If you find that the chocolate becomes so incredibly thick that you just can't work with it, you might need to just put it back, just for literally about 10-20 seconds over the hop, and give it a little, give it a little stir just to melt down the remaining buttons, and keep on testing it on your upper lip. But you're looking for something which is quite cool on the upper lip. But if you do have a temperature, you can obviously use a thermometer and check it that way. So that's how to temper chocolate.